Hello and welcome to the Hoop Collective podcast. We talk about the NBA, which we're doing on midnight on Monday morning. Joining us from New York City, although he was in Boston today for game one of the Celtics series, which he was so impressed with, he turned around and left the city. I thought you were going to cover the Boston Marathon on Monday morning, Tim Bontemps.
I did not stay to cover the Boston Marathon, though Hannah Storm is doing the telecast of it. And on Friday, she asked me about what time the game was, and I asked if she was running the marathon, which she was very amused by, which she said she was going to be in town for it. She said, nope, I'm just doing the TV. I definitely am not trying to run that. I said, all right.
Well, people know that Bontemps is a runner and ran cross country in high school.
I never have even considered running a marathon because that is an insane amount of distance. Godspeed. Oh, actually, shout out to Drew Carter. Drew Carter.
Oh, really?
Is running the marathon for charity on Monday.
Wow.
So shout out to our guy, Drew Carter. In all seriousness, I was going to do that and I totally forgot.
All right. Shout out to Drew. Jackson, what are you doing with your life?
And good luck to him. It's going to be like 45 in Boston.
I would rather run the marathon at 45 degrees than 85 degrees. I'll tell you that.
That's exactly what I said to somebody else who's doing it today. It's much better temp if you're picking one.
All right. In case you don't know, Drew Carter is the voice of the Boston Celtics on TV, and also
Come
Jackson.
on. People listen to the pod. Listeners to the pod. No, come on.
Okay, well, this is the thing. That always doesn't happen. Anyway.
And Jackson's former college roommate, along with Noah Eagle.
I'm sorry, you don't know who you are. You haven't been introduced yet. You'll just sit there and wait. You'll sit there and wait till you're called on.
We got a spicy window today, folks. This is going to be a fun pod.
Joining us from Oklahoma City, where he watched the Thunder dismantle the Phoenix Suns in game one of that series, is Ben MacMahon.
Howdy, partners. Can I talk now?
Yes, please. Please.
Oh, great.
Be loquacious.
Let's just sum up. We don't need to really hit on that. I mean, it was a complete blowout, much like last year against the Memphis Grizzlies in game one. Quick turnaround from that Friday night late playing game for the Suns. Most significant thing that happened today, Jalen Williams, J-Dub, looks like himself.
Yeah, he had 4 steals in the first half alone, I'm pretty sure. And the Thunder, what was the points off of turnovers in this game?
34-2.
See, okay, obviously you're going to give the Suns a bit of a pass because they played 3 games in 6 days or whatever. But I'm just going to say that when the Thunder are dominating the possession game like that, that is when you know they're at their best. Okay, maybe some games they'll hit more threes. Maybe some games Shea will be a little bit more on his game. You may have certain variants. But when the Thunder are dominating the points off of turnovers, it means that their system is functioning highly.
One more quick stat. 34-2, that 32-point margin in points off turnovers, the most in the play-by-play era since 97-98, which as far as our ESPN research folks can go back and track that. The second most was a 30-point margin, and that was by the Thunder in Game 7 of last year's Western Conference semifinals when they blew the Nuggets off the floor.
I looked this stat up. They won this game by 35 today, I believe. Their average
I can't do math right now.
Average
35-36.
Their average margin of victory at home in the West playoffs last year, obviously the finals was tighter, including game one, which they lost. Their average margin of victory at home last year in the West playoffs was 29.
No disrespect to everybody else, but the Thunder are the heavy favorites for a reason. It will be a big disappointment if they don't win the title. And today was an example of why. We'll see. We'll see if they're healthy. We'll see how it goes. Doesn't mean they're definitely going to win, but they should win. And that was a good statement of intent. And by the way, MacMahon, it's interesting that Window comes on here spicy today because we know that in Cavs corner right now, there is rejoicing.
Oh, yes.
Because they see the path to the conference finals sans LeBron for the first time since when, Brian?
1992.
1992. Mark Price, Brad Doherty.
I've been telling people, listen, I think the Magic are about to get hot. You know, saying that after that first playing game.
Let's rewind 72 hours to the Friday morning pod.
The Magic are a team that just needs to go their separate ways for a little bit, if not for a while.
Now, by get hot, I thought it meant go lay on the beach in Cancun, but now they're just getting hot.
Well, I don't know if they were that hot today, but it was look, the home
Well, the
teams
Pistons were not, that's for sure.
Cade Cunningham was hot, and the rest of his team was not.
The home teams were 7-1 over the weekend. I don't have our final stats and info report on the weekend, but I got to believe that's the best home teams have done for the first weekend in a while. I mean, there have been years where we've seen 3 home teams lose on Saturday. I feel like that's happened a couple of times in the last decade. And so the one home team that did not win was the Pistons, the 1 seed in the East. The Magic with 2 impressive performances since our last pod, one on Friday to get into the playoffs, just pounding the Charlotte Hornets, ending that Cinderella dream.
Vintage playing performance by the Hornets.
It really was a turn back the clock day and all the wrong read for all the wrong reasons.
You got that right. Anyway, then they go up to Detroit, with no really ability to prepare and lead this game from tip to tail. I'm not sure they were behind more than a handful of seconds in this game. If they were
I don't think they trailed. I think it was wire to wire.
Right.
It got back to 65-65 about 7 minutes to go in the third quarter. And then it looked like Detroit had come back and was going to take control of the game and go on and win. And then all of a sudden, Magic just took back control again. And I mean, look, to me, the crazy thing about the last 72 hours with Orlando is the performance they had on Friday and the performance they had today against Detroit. This is the team we thought Orlando was going to be back in October. And they basically have not been hardly at all this season. And then when everybody wrote them off after they had this desultory games against the C team for the Celtics and then not playing well against the Sixers last week. MacMahon is far from the only person who thought that was a 1-2-3 Cancun situation going into that game Friday at home. And instead, that Hornets game might as well have ended 5 minutes in. And they come out and play a great game today. And I was thinking, watching this Detroit game, I don't know how this series is going to go. Well, there's a lot to talk about with it, but the Pistons kind of remind me a little bit of the Lowry DeRozan Raptors right now, where that team always had people going, man, are they actually really that good? Are they really going to make a run? Are they really going to get deep in the playoffs? And they would always lose the first game of the playoffs every year.
That's true. It was always Saturday at noon, but
and the sky was always falling after that. So, there's a long way to go in the series, but that was the first thing I thought of tonight.
I got a whiz of the quiz.
Ooh.
Yes, please do.
All right.
Whiz of the quiz. Who was the last 60-win team to lose their playoff opener?
Was that the playoff opener?
60-plus win team to lose their playoff
Was that the Mavericks?
Opener. Damn, Wendy. Which Mavericks?
Oh, I was thinking the We Believe.
Yes, sir. And what happened in that series? The We Believe Warriors beat the 06-07 Mavericks, that was actually a 67-win team.
Yeah, with all due respect to the Pistons, this team doesn't have that potency of that team. But
and what happened in that series?
Went 6 games.
Well, that was Don Nelson with his game plan against Dirk Nowitzki, his old team, and whatnot.
It was also a 1-star 60-plus win team. Like Josh Howard was their second best player.
There's a lot of similarities. I mean, that team was better and Dirk was better, but there's a lot of similarities.
But what's crazy is Cade had 39 tonight.
Can I just say that the stat about Cade, 39 points, got to the line 11 times, but 2 huge stats I want to point out with Cade. One, he has 4 assists, and not because I think he was hogging the ball. It's just there was nobody out there who wanted to shoot. Secondly, Jalen Duren, who was an offensive machine down the stretch of the season, he takes 4 shots in this game. Cade Cunningham takes 27 shots. Jalen Duren takes 4.
That's concerning.
No, sir. That is, again, I'm not criticizing Cunningham.
This is all the concerns about Detroit. One of my neighbors is a big Detroit sports fan. I saw him outside He's walking his dog after the game. He was like, man, that wasn't very fun. And I said, no, it wasn't very fun. And it also highlighted all the concerns everybody has about the team. Like, it's a one ball handler team. It's Cade Cunningham, and then a question mark is who the second perimeter scorer is going to be. Jalen Duren had an amazing year. I voted for him for All-NBA. He has had, he's been far better than I ever would have guessed. But if he's your second offensive option, how is that going to go? Did not look great today. There's a lot of questionable one-way players in terms of how big their impact can be on the playoff stage. Asar Thompson he did a little bit of stuff offensively today, a little bit more than normal, but it's a flawed team with a lot of questions, and then they come out and they lose like this. And I mean, look, can we make an argument that Orlando's the more talented team? I think we can at least make an argument, right?
Yeah. I mean, the Pistons bench was 4-16 in this game.
Well, going into the season, you would have said Orlando was better than Detroit.
I believe the Magic had a higher over-under. Correct me if I'm
definitely
wrong.
Did.
But I believe they did. By the way, Wendy, you mentioned the 4 assists. There's a rule about assists. Somebody has to make a shot.
That's what I'm saying.
And they were 4 of 16 off of Cade's passes.
Wow.
Tobias 5 for 15, 1 for 7 from 3.
But
that's just not going to get it done.
Typically he's getting Duren some easy buckets. That clearly didn't happen. You mentioned Duren barely took any shots.
Listen, Wendell Carter dominated Jalen Duren.
That's
in this game.
Not if that happens
that
during the series.
happen.
It will not be Detroit moving on. And listen, man, we all were hammering on Paolo Banchero. I did, you guys did, the world did after that Philly playing game. He brought it to Charlotte, dominated that game. He brought it today. I'm not going to say dominated, but he was really good on both ends of the floor. And when Paolo Banchero uses that 6'10", 250-pound athletic frame to get downhill and attack and make things happen, he is an all-star, all-NBA caliber player. When he settles for a bunch of jump shots, he's he's attacking right now.
And by the way, Franz is starting to look springy again too after dealing with these leg injuries.
That was the best I've seen Franz look in a while. He had 19 points. Obviously, the Magic played very well across the board. Their starting lineup 5-5 dominated the Pistons. I don't even think the Magic played great offensively in this game.
The Magic aren't going to play great that offensively that often.
Right, but you're going to have a game where they hit their threes.
Sure. Well, and again, if you just go through their starting 5, Jalen Suggs, Desmond Bane.
Suggs was everywhere in this game. Suggs
everywhere.
Played with great
Franz
energy.
Wagner and Wendell Carter Jr. You compare that to Cade Cunningham, Asar Thompson, Tobias Harris, Jalen Duren, Duncan Robinson. At best, that's a wash. They probably are the more talented team. It's why Orlando was such a massive disappointment this season. They were supposed to be challenging to be a conference finals kind of team after trading for Desmond Bane.
How big? Let's just put it this way. I'm a big believer in never overreacting to game 1. I don't care if you win by 35. I don't care if you lose by 35. Obviously, it can be an indication, but I've covered many, many, many series where you get to game 4 and you laugh about what you thought about the series after game 1. So
I brought up those Toronto teams for a reason, because this was an annual rite of passage for the Raptors for about 5 years. So they would win 1 or 2 rounds in the playoffs, and they'd lose game 1 of the first round every year, and it would be a existential crisis.
So, how concerned should the Pistons? We know their concerns overall. How concerned should the Pistons be about this series right now?
Go ahead, Timmy.
They better have their full attention. I'm not going to say it's a 5-alarm fire, but it's an alert. You mentioned Jalen Duren. The other guy who's just flat out has to be much better is Dennis Jenkins. And the silver lining of Cunningham missing that time at the end of the season, and Jenkins really played well during that stretch. It's okay, is that the secondary?
What does that tell you that you're asking a rookie who was a two-way
He's
guy.
a second-year guy, and he's not a two-way guy anymore.
All right. I'm sorry. He's not
But listen. I mean,
he's a converted two-way player.
Okay, so is AJ Mitchell, for example. I mean, like, they're converted two-way
yeah,
players.
but you're not saying AJ Mitchell is vitally important to the Thunder.
I would say he's a six-man of the year candidate, although he's not a finalist. I'm just telling you, Jenkins has to play well for the Pistons, and
right. And what I'm
didn't.
saying is that what does that tell you about the Pistons?
It tells you that they've got a massive void for a secondary playmaker that it appeared that he was capable of filling,
which is what has been said about the Pistons for months.
And that goes back to the trade deadline when Trajan Langdon, I would say, showed his hand in not going after anything at the trade deadline and saying, "Hey, we're going to wait."
Well, he got Kevin Huerter.
He got Kevin Huerter as part of a moving around of salaries. I mean, it wasn't.
Well,
I mean,
he played 19 minutes today. He traded for the trade deadline.
Kevin Huerter's fine, but they didn't go out and actively seek to acquire a player. They moved off of Jaden Ivey and they got Kevin Huerter back. So we've talked a lot about Jaden Ivey and his impact on other places. But
we support Kevin Huerter on this pod.
Yes, we do. Big fan of the pod, and he's a nice player. But like, they didn't go. They could have gone out and tried to add an impact piece, and they very clearly said, we're going to sit back. I mean, our guy Vinny Goodwill's written about it. Like, they want to see what this team looks like and how it does in the playoffs, and then they can adjust. And I'm not saying that's wrong, but
and they had all the ability in the world to make, to take a big swing. They had financial flexibility. They had to buy it. Not only they had wiggle room financially, plus Tobias Harris's large expiring contract. They've got all their picks moving forward. If they wanted to be aggressive, they could have been. I've told you in that way, they remind me of the Thunder a couple of years ago. That team traded for Gordon Hayward, but they certainly did take a big swing before the deadline.
Yep. And the one thing the Pistons did at the trade deadline was just improve their draft pick. Like, they moved up. They did a swap with the Wolves as the Wolves were moving money around. As you mentioned, Mike Conley moved up several spots in this year's draft in the first round. That was really the main thing that Detroit did, which is fine. But now you get to this playoff series, and like, you ask what the concern level is. There's two series where there should be a high concern level. We're going to talk about the other one next. The concern level should be really high because this game, it shined a light on every single concern you would have about the Pistons. And if we knew coming into Friday that seemingly the Orlando team that was supposed to show up all year has now appeared at the start of the playoffs, that's a much, and look, they could easily turn back into a pumpkin in game 2, and and this could be a 5-game rout. Like, I'm not saying the series is over.
Yeah, it's just, NBA basketball is fragile. They had a couple of absolutely objectionable performances, and they've bounced back with 2 excellent performances.
I mean, they had a couple of objectionable months. Let's not act like we're.
No, I understand, but I mean, like, really, the game
Magic
in Boston
have been one of the 2 or 3 most disappointing teams in the entire league this season. It's not really close. All I would say is, typically, I would 100% agree with you on game 1s. I think because of the concerns everybody had about Detroit, the fact that this sort of exemplified all of them, I think it's a real concern. And we'll see what happens in game 2. I mean, it's going to be a massive game. I think they get 2 days off, right? It's Wednesday. Wednesday, they got to sit for 2 days, play game 2. They haven't led a playoff series in 18 years, which is wild.
Also haven't won a home playoff game in 18 years since 2008, which was either right before or right after LeBron's retroactive flagrant foul on Chris Webber.
It was the year after for the bookkeeping purposes, but
it depends on when his memory says.
That's true. But yeah, look, I mean, Orlando's played great the last couple games, and I mean, it's going to be a fascinating game on Wednesday night. See how it goes.
The other series that I guess the favorite lost game, where the Rockets were favored. Well, of course, okay, so Durant. But I wonder how much the line moved when it was announced that.
I was going to ask. I don't know what the line did after Durant was ruled out. Durant went through a pregame workout. I want to say it was like 2 or 3 hours before tip, and basically like, I can't move right now the way I need to move. I can't play. And Ime Udoka says he hopes it's a 1-game thing. He took a shot to the knee during practice this week, and fellas, let me tell you, I'm gonna
Jackson
play
says the
pickup
line
basketball.
went from Rockets by 5.5 to Rockets by 2.5.
Huh. All I know is this: I'm going to play pickup basketball tomorrow. The offense there will look better than the Rockets' offense without Kevin Durant on the court.
I'm going to say there's a couple of things about that. So first off, let me just say the Lakers, if they have any serious interest or ability in winning that series, had to win game one, because they're home and Durant is out. And the imbalance that happens with not having Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves rebalances when you don't have Durant with that team. No Fred VanVleet and Durant. I know VanVleet hasn't been there all year, but you could argue
Steven Adams, if you want to throw that in.
You could argue that it's way more balanced when you toss in no VanVleet. Now, there's a couple of things about this game that were wild. Number one, and I haven't seen any history on this, but the Rockets took 27 more shots than the Lakers.
That's insane.
27 more shots. Now, you may say, oh, maybe the Lakers had like 15 more free throws. No, sir. Free throws were even, 26-25.
So from John Schumann, because I have another John Schumann stat, John Schumann from NBA.com, our pal. The Rockets got 27 more shot opportunities than the Lakers. That he's including free field goal attempts and trips to the line, I guess, for that. That was the fourth biggest differential in any game across the league this season, and the biggest for any team that lost.
I mean, just right there, just that differential right there, because when you talk
there's also a companion stat that goes with that.
Okay, well, I'm going to tell you. How do you get 27? The offensive rebounding in this game. I assume that's what you're talking about, Bontemps?
I was talking about the other reason why the Lakers won the game, but we can get to that in a minute.
The offensive rebounding was 21-3 in favor of the Rockets. This is an unheard of spread to lose a game. And by the way,
there were a lot of offensive rebound opportunities for the Rockets.
Yes, there were.
Well, that's true. But that's their game. Their game is to get offensive rebound opportunities.
And I think they're going to continue to get offensive rebound opportunities. Might not be plus 18, but they're probably going to be plus quite a bit every game.
Well, it was I think JJ Redick described it as a simplistic game plan, which I think is what they needed. DeAndre Ayton played, here's the thing. DeAndre Ayton cannot, we talked earlier about how Wendell Carter cannot outplay Jalen Duren.
Yeah.
And you have any chance? DeAndre Ayton cannot equalize. Actually, it wasn't even equalized because Şengün was 6 of 19.
Yeah, Ayton was 8 of 10. Ayton had 19 and 11. Şengün had 19, 8, and 6. But Ayton was
6 for 19 from the field.
Ayton was a bigger factor in this game.
I mean, a center shooting under 33% from the field is hard to do. The other stat from John Schumann was that among the 8 teams to play Saturday night, or I guess during the day Saturday, the Lakers had the lowest expected field goal percentage and the highest actual field goal percentage.
You didn't think Luke Kennard taking guys off the dribble, it was going to continue?
Well, the Lakers going 10 for 19, and I would emphasize the 19 from 3 in the game. The Lakers winning a game where they only took 19 threes, I would not have bet either.
How about the Rockets making more threes than their opponent, which happened in this game, 11-10, and losing? It's unheard of.
That's what I mean. There's a lot of math in this game. That if you just look at the math would tell you this has to come back in Houston's favor, even if Durant is not around, because the math is so compounding in Houston's favor. However, anyone who watched that game, to Tim's point, and watched that Houston offense, I don't think could sit here and be like, oh man, the math is going to come around for the Rockets. It's going to be great. Maybe it will, but I've got to see the math actually work after watching that because that was impossible to watch.
They don't have a calculator. They're counting with rocks, and that's what they're throwing at the freaking rim.
They're stacking the rocks.
Well,
up.
you know what I was thinking about, and I know that I think Luke Kennard hit 5 threes. I think LeBron assisted on 3 of them,
probably at least.
He might have had 2 assists and then 2 hockey assists to him. But I was just thinking back to all of the players that I have watched LeBron in the playoffs with have a 5 3-pointer, or 4 or 5 3-point, because back in the 2000s, if you made 4 threes, it was like 6 threes in today's game. And I'm thinking like Damon Jones, Daniel Gibson,
Kyle Korver, who I saw on Saturday night.
Wally I'm going through the chronological in my head.
Yeah,
Wally Zerbiak. I don't think Norris Cole ever made 4, but
Norris
Cole had some.
He's really in his
Mario Chalmers, Mike Miller, Shane Battier,
Ray Allen,
Matthew No, I'm not talking about Hall of Famers. I'm talking about guys. Sure. Matthew Dellavedova, J.R. Smith, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Kyle Kuzma. Like, you're not going to win a series like having LeBron and a couple of shooters that are playing off each other, but you can win some playoff games that way. And that's what they did. I've been watching LeBron win games like that since high school. Now, maybe not where they got outshot by 27 attempts, but where LeBron just spreads the floor and, he had 8 assists in the first quarter of this game.
I thought he was going to have 30 at one point.
I think he had 3 assists to Kennard in the first quarter alone.
He's been around forever. He knew the opportunity that was there, and you could see like he was posting up. He was aggressive right off the bat, got them out to a good start. Like he knew they had to win that game to have a chance in the series.
He was very locked in. You see they caught him. It was with the eyes, the
demon pose.
Is that what it's called? The demon pose?
I think so.
Okay. Yeah.
The famous internet meme from his Miami days.
Well, I'll never, Pat Riley blew that, the Hall of Champions. That's not the Champions Walk or whatever. The hallway from the court to the locker room in Miami. It's got wall size, like 8, longer than that, 10 feet high. For years, right as you walked off the court, there were 2 gigantic things on the wall in the Champions hallway there in Miami. One was Udonis Haslem with blood pouring out of his face, dripping down his chin, and the other was LeBron in the demon pose. Like that was that's the epitome of Heat basketball.
Heat culture, baby.
Yeah. So they were, LeBron was definitely locked in, and look, they had to win that game, and they did. And so now, I'm here in LA. I'll go to the game on Tuesday and see how the Rockets bounce back in that one.
Well, see if Durant plays, and the other thing that was interesting to me was I was surprised that Amen Thompson basically didn't guard LeBron. I thought he'd be on.
Well, they started Okogie to guard him.
Well, I understand that, but I would have put my best defensive player on LeBron and just try to take LeBron out of the game.
I also thought it was interesting they started Okogie instead of Tari Eason, who actually played well off the bench.
Tari Eason, as long as you're talking about things that are not going to repeat themselves, Tari Eason went 7 of 7.
And the rest of the team went like 7 of 90.
It's actually crazy. You also figure, Reed Sheppard goes 6 of 20. Not all of the shots obviously were good shots, and it was his first playoff game was on the road. You're not expecting him to dominate, but you're also figuring Reed Sheppard, if he gets 20 shots, is not going to go 6 of 20.
Reed Sheppard also had 8 assists and got in the lane a bunch of times for wide open threes for guys that were nowhere close either.
I'm still trying to figure out, and a lot of people I talked to around the league are trying to figure out exactly what Reed Sheppard is, who Reed Sheppard is. I don't think you're going to draw any grand conclusions based off a second-year player playing in his first playoffs, but they need him to be pretty good this postseason.
I'll tell you what, if Reed Sheppard was playing with LeBron, he would. Who knows what would happen?
We talked about the pressure on Detroit. There's a hell of a lot of pressure on the Rockets to win this series, and they better win this series. I think regardless, frankly, of whether Durant comes back or not, they're still, to me, the more talented team. And if there's no Austin Reeves and no Luka Doncic, like I don't think there's going to be. Obviously, if one of them comes back or they both come back, it's a different story. And we spent this whole time talking about how bad Houston's offense looks. That's been a problem all season. If they lose this series and the offense continues to look anywhere near as bad as it did in game one, there's going to be a lot of questions about the Rockets this summer. So, that Detroit series and the Houston series, a couple pretty massive game twos, Tuesday night in LA and Wednesday night in Detroit for a lot of reasons.
All right. I'm sitting here watching the 8th game of the weekend on Sunday night. And I'm wondering, how many games are we going to be watching Victor Wembanyama in the spring play in the playoffs going forward? I feel like that was the first of a great many.
Hopefully a lot. Oh, you're talking about over the course of his career or this year?
Both, I guess. And, I always remember in the gold medal game in Paris that it was the first. I can't remember if it was the first possession of the game or it was France's first possession. But Victor comes down and hits a 3 right out of the gate, like basically making the statement, I am not afraid of this moment. And the second 20 seconds in, I don't know if it was the first or second possession, immediately goes to the basket in this game. Has a 12-point first quarter. Definitely was looking to shoot. He did hit a couple of threes, but I thought tried to play inside out. De'Aaron Fox said that he thought the team, he's got a little bit more experience than most of the guys. He said he thought the team had jitters, but I don't think number one had jitters. And so he, in his first playoff game, puts up 21 points in the first half, which is where the Spurs basically grabbed control. I know that the Blazers came back in the second half on him, but and by the way, Denny Avdia had 11 points in the first quarter himself. I think he took 9 shots in the first quarter. Like Denny was trying to do the same thing in his first playoff game. I don't want to disregard that.
The game was tied in the third quarter. I mean, Victor was unbelievable, but where the Spurs won the game was with Victor on the bench. Like they blew the game open with Devin Vassell knocking down a bunch of threes in the third quarter, and they were +9 in the game, and they were double digits plus with Victor on the bench for basically the whole game. If we're consistently talking about the Spurs winning the non-Victor minutes in these playoffs, there's going to be do you want to ask how many games they're going to be talking about the Spurs? We're talking about the Spurs a lot this spring, if that's the case. Like
Luke Cornett earned his money tonight in 14 minutes.
Yes, he did. If you're losing those minutes and you're playing the Spurs, you're in a lot of trouble.
Like Wemby, I mean, if you want to put Tamani Kamara on him, which they did a lot, then he'll go down low and dominate in the paint. If you want to put Donovan Clingan, he's going to take him out to the perimeter, and Clingan is lost out there. And there's not a traditional big that I can think of that could guard Wemby if he's going to be knocking down threes. And it was 5 of 6 today.
Yeah, he had only 5 rebounds and 1 assist and 4 turnovers. It was not a command performance in his normal all-around game, but he had 35 points on 21 shots in his first playoff game.
Right. I mean, he played great, and it was a great shot-making game, right? He didn't do a lot of the other stuff. And I actually think that the Blazers did a pretty good job in this game. Like, they could not hit perimeter shots. They went 10 for 28 from 3. Obviously, they're going to have to get
10 for 38.
Or 10 for 38, I'm sorry. Shot 26%. Like, obviously, they've got to hit, like we talked about when Stats made his bold prediction the other day. They've got to, they're going to get up a lot of threes. They've got to hit a lot of threes.
In his first playoff game, played very well, I thought.
It was good. Like, I mean, Portland was hanging in the game, and I thought, I mean, they were competitive through large portions of the game, and if the Spurs aren't scalding hot from 3, like, that's a really interesting game. Now, obviously, I think the series is probably going 5 games, but, like, it was a great start for Victor, and it was a good start for this young team. But, Stephon Castle struggled hitting shots. That's going to be something, like we've talked about, to watch going forward in the playoffs.
So what? They put Clingan on him some, and I'm sitting there watching. I'm like, dude, shoot the ball. If Clingan's gonna be down there at the free throw line and you've got the ball at the top of the arc, let it go.
Well, this is why I've talked about that for the last month. Like, it's one thing to say, oh, the guy's hitting 35% of his threes. And again, I love Stephon Castle. I think he's great. But it's another thing when you're in the playoffs and you have Donovan Clingan standing below the free throw line, daring you to shoot the ball, right? So, like, and he went 4 for 13 from the field and he went 1 for 5 from 3.
He did get 8 free throws. He did look for aggression.
Yes, he's going to make an impact on the game, obviously. Like, he's a good player. But that's if the Spurs are winning the non-Victor minutes and they're shooting 45% from 3, they're not losing very many games. And
if they're winning the non-Victor minutes, period, because I'm here to tell you, they will win the vast majority of the Victor minutes.
Well, but that's what I was going to say. Those
they
dovetail
won the Victor
together.
minutes tonight, too.
I know.
Just wasn't.
Yes, he was +4 in 35 minutes, and they were +9 in the other 11. Like that. That's what I mean. Like that. And again, that dovetail with Devin Vassell knocking down a bunch of threes. And, if the Spurs can have 2 or 3 guys hot in a game from 3, that might be enough. Tonight they had 2. Victor and Vassell combined to go 9 for 15 from 3. Like, that if they have 2 guys do something close to that on a regular basis, plus Victor being awesome, that's a pretty good formula to be winning a lot of playoff games.
All right, before we turn to the games that are going to be a Monday night, I thought we should just get your opinion real quick on what happened in Boston today. Bontemps.
Do we have to talk about that again?
Very quickly.
I mean, I could talk about it really fast. I mean, the Sixers, if they're going to be competitive in the series, Maxey has to be the best. Tyrese Maxey has to be the best player. He was not. They have to get up a ton of threes. They were 2 for 16 from 3 in the first half, and they took 5 in the competitive portion of the second half and made 1 or 2. They were 4 for 21 from 3 in the first 42 minutes of the game. Like, that is an impossible, forgetting even the 4, like, Nick Nurse after the game was like, we have to get up more threes. And I think once they started to miss shots, they turned down open shots. But, like, that's the whole story. Like, Boston played great. Jason Tatum was awesome. The Celtics dominated from start to finish. But the only thing to talk about is if Philadelphia wants to make this a competitive series of any kind, Maxey has to be the best player to do that. He's got to play better than Tatum. He's got to play better than Jaylen Brown. And they have to get up more threes. If they're shooting under 25 threes, they're shooting under 30 threes or even maybe 35 threes, I just don't think they keep up with the Celtics, and they certainly didn't today.
I mean, the threes today were 16-4. It's unsurvivable in any game, in any league.
Well, again, it's the attempts. They almost attempted as many as the Celtics made. Like, you just cannot win the math. I mean, that's even the thing going back to the Laker game. Like, yeah, the Lakers went 10 for 19. I don't think the Lakers are winning a lot of games if they take 19 threes.
I would agree.
Like, it's not, and especially playing the Celtics. Like, the Celtics are going to probably shoot 40.
That's unlikely to be a competitive series. I mean,
I would agree.
It is what it is.
That's why I agree. That's why I said that's the only really thing to talk about is can the Sixers make it competitive? Today was not a good indication they can.
Fellas, I do hate to rewind, but there was one more point I wanted to make about San Antonio. And
for it, bruh.
I got a text from Malik Andrews, the Malik Andrews.
Oh, thank you.
The Malik Andrews, who was in OKC today. And the text says, San Antonio giving OKC a run for the league lead in the freebie T-shirt percentage worn. Tim Duncan and David Robinson wearing the freebie T-shirts today, by the way. But a color-coordinated Fiesta vibe.
Another thing to go back to from that game, the coolest moment of the game, they keep showing David Robinson and Tim Duncan sitting there together watching the game. And Victor makes this absurd move with he's got the ball at the top of the key, does this spin move.
Well, he brought the ball up, by the way.
Yeah, completely. Yeah, brings the ball up the court, does this spin move around Denny, yams it in the net, and they cut to David Robinson and Tim Duncan, who are both like, what the hell was that? And just laughing at this guy. And it was a very cool piece of camera work.
He does
by NBC.
Things that make Hall of Famers just shake their heads and chuckle. But we saw last year how critical the freebie T-shirt percentage worn factor is in chasing the championship. Now,
Well, I got to tell you, as I looked at Oklahoma State today, I did not see a single fan. It looked like
There weren't many.
a video game from like the 2002, where they just made every fan in the crowd look exactly the same. Every face and fan looked exactly the same.
But I'm telling you, in San Antonio, again, they had the Fiesta thing where each section was its own color. And I'm just here to say, huge advantage in this series because news came out of Portland. Oh, no free T-shirts being given away because you know why? T-shirts cost money.
Well, I thought it was interesting. One of so I can't remember the media member who put it on X that there was not going to be free T-shirts. Not free. I mean, if what they charge for playoff tickets, it's basically included in the price.
Right. The business side president of the team announced there would not be shirts given out. That's where it came from.
Right. But so then it came out with the some media member put it out, and one of the new part owners, one of the Shield Tile, I think is the way you say his name.
The one who lives in Portland.
Yes, he came and responded and said, "Don't worry, we've got something better planned." Which sounds like something you would say.
Free rain jackets?
All right. Now, guys, what have we got better planned?
Yeah. Hey, by the way, related note, Sean Highkin, who has a Substack covering the Blazers, reports that the Blazers are not traveling their two-way guys during the playoffs. Now, two-way guys are not eligible for the playoffs, but I have never heard of a team not traveling their two-way guys during the playoffs.
It's not all. Chris Mannix from Sports Illustrated had a story about this a couple of days ago, and one of the details.
No late checkout.
Well, so typically an NBA team, they travel to the game, the road game, and then they stay in the hotel during the day and they head over to the arena sometime in the late afternoon, early evening. 2 or 3, even 4 buses, I guess, take people over. And so they pay for they make a deal with the hotel, but they pay extra for the half day, right?
Yeah, like a super late checkout, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
And so according to Mannix, and I talked to somebody, and this isn't, he said multiple sources, but I talked to somebody, it's indeed true. Like, in an effort to save money, some of the staff have been asked to leave their room by checkout time at noon so they don't have to pay.
Let's just call it like it is. New ownership there is embarrassingly cheap.
Now, let me just say that, they don't have to stay in the lobby. There's other rooms that teams rent out, such as, conference rooms.
Brian.
Dude, they're not traveling two ways. They're not giving away T-shirts. They're trying to pay.
I just want to make it sound like they're telling them to sit on their suitcases in the lobby.
Brian. What are we doing?
I'm just telling you what I was told.
There's no need to defend. We're stating a fact.
I'm not defending. I'm just saying that they're not making them sit on their suitcases in the lobby.
Well, you are defending when you start wheedling on
I'm not defending them. I'm just saying they're not sitting on the curb.
They are asking their head coach in the future to work on an hourly wage.
All right. Say that that's not true because that'll end up getting aggregated.
It's not true, but they are cheap as hail.
Yes, that is. I will just say that there are savings centers that teams can have. I don't think not traveling, a couple of hotel rooms in the grand scheme of things is going to do it. But whatever. None of that affects how many points Denny Avdia had, which was 30 in game 1.
Oh, but his extension might be affected.
Well, that's true. That is absolutely true. And if it is, then that'll be a thing. But anyway, your point about the T-shirts in San Antonio, yes, they were very cool. And the vibe in that arena was very cool. And look, it's Victor's. They're I think Vassell got to pound the drum at the end of the game. And
wait, did you see the Men in Black suits? Apparently, Kelly Olynyk went to a Taylor, New York City, and got all his teammates all black suits, black dress shirts. And they came in fitted and ready to roll for the playoffs.
That's not like when LeBron gave all of his teammates, in as part of a promotion. Remember that one year, one of the Warriors
the suit shorts.
Oh my God! And I had to listen to how those were actually really cool. And I don't. Don't you remember, like, they were supposed to wear one sock pulled up high and one sock
I blocked
low?
it out of my brain because it was so awkward, and then now it's all flooding back to me.
I didn't know the sock part of it.
I seem to recall that. Please don't. I seem to recall there was a whole sock thing.
It was It was a thing.
And they all had to wear it because, like, LeBron gives you this suit, but really, they're promoting the brand. It wasn't like it's almost like when they're like, "Oh, LeBron gave all of his teammates Beats headphones." Well, yes, it's to promote it. Like it's a promotion. All right. Anyway, forget about that.
Well, if you want to promote some stuff, give me some stuff.
Sure, do it.
Listen, we know MacMahon wants free stuff. He's made that extraordinarily clear on the pod.
All right. There's 3 games, what I would consider spicy potential games on Monday. First up, Cavs, Raptors. Cavs are ahead 1-0. They had a professional win on Saturday. Got up by as much as 23, but it's close in the first half. The big thing from that game, in addition to Harden and Donovan putting up 50 points combined, Brandon Ingram, who averaged 20 shots a game against the Cavs in the regular season, only took 9. They top locked him. They shadowed him. They pretty much ignored Jamal Shed. I would say, like, some injury report stuff. Obviously, Durant will be the number one injury report thing, but Emmanuel Quickley, he's listed as questionable for Monday's game 2. Without Quickley, the Raptors are in a tough scoring situation, especially.
The series is a wrap without Quickley.
When Dean Wade started, which is also related to the Brandon Ingram lack of shots. We were wondering about what they might do with that spot.
Yeah, I mean, the Raptors are an offensively challenged team. Normally, they got to get out and run. They got to play in transition. But Quickley is one of their better offensive players. He's obviously their number one floor general. If they don't have him, I just don't see how they're keeping up with this Cavs offense. I really don't.
Also, you highlighted when the Barnes versus Mobley matchup and kind of a weird Scotty Barnes game where they came out and hit a few threes real quick, which is something he doesn't usually do. Ended up with 21 points, 7 assists, but just a rebound, no steals, no blocks, minus 22. Obviously he's got to be much more impactful.
Yeah, for sure. The Cavs defense was so spotty the second half of the season. But they had a good week-ish to prepare. They had a good game plan. And James Harden is a load to handle in the half court. And the Cavs are going to want to slow the game down, which is what they do. I think the Raptors the transition points are kind of squishy. Sometimes you see a game and you're like, oh, the transition points in that game were 37-28. And I'm like, really? I find it like a slow game to me. But anyway, the Cavs held the Raptors to just 3 fast break points. That is the Cavs playing at their pace. So Quickley's availability will be relevant, and they play. Then are you going to game 2 at the Garden, Bontemps?
Yeah, I'll be at the Garden. Yeah.
Look at you covering 2 series at once. It's very impressive.
Wow.
So
game
Hawks,
in town. Gonna go see it.
Yeah, Hawks.
Knicks.
Hawks Knicks game 2.
He's just going garden to garden.
That's
Garden
right.
garden,
Apparently
baby.
so.
Yeah.
The Knicks, Jalen Brunson came out and set a big time tone against the Hawks in game 1.
Funny game for him.
Yeah, then he kind of sort of faded a little bit.
Not sort of. He had 21 points and was 8 for 11 from the field in the first quarter, and then went 1 for 11 the rest of the game. So, look, it didn't matter. They won the game, but it just was he came out and couldn't miss for the entire first quarter and then just sort of faded off.
It wasn't like a jaw-droppingly awesome Knicks performance, but it was a quality win. As
he cooled off, Cat warmed up.
Yeah, Cat put some numbers up down the stretch and got his lineup to a good place. I made a joke on Saturday night that it was the latest example of the Knicks winning in comfortable yet unconvincing fashion, which I think is like the summation of their entire season, where they won 53 games. They had this really good year. But everybody here is like, are they really that good? Can they really make a run? Like, where are they at? And this game was kind of the same thing. Like, the Hawks have little to no playoff experience. I thought they handled the environment pretty well. CJ McCollum had a really good first quarter. He and Jalen Brunson were going back and forth and making shots. That sort of allowed Atlanta to settle into the game a little bit. But Jalen Johnson wasn't great. He was 8 for 19. Onyeka Okongwu hit a bunch of shots and was good. He is also questionable with a knee issue for Monday night. If he can't play, the Hawks are totally cooked again, like the Raptors. Okongwu is
they don't
an
even
undersized
have Jock Vaughn.
Right. Well, no, they don't have him or Jock
That's
Landale.
a throwback.
And,
That's a throwback
to the other day.
I'm making fun of Wendy.
If they don't have him, I mean, again, just curtains for the Hawks. So we'll see if he can play. But, Atlanta hung in the game despite not being able to throw the ball in the ocean in the second half and got it back to within 8 with a couple minutes to go. So, Knicks should win the series. They are the more talented team. Jonathan Kuminga played 28 minutes off the bench. I think that sort of sums up where the talent level is for the Hawks once you get past the starting fives for both teams.
You don't shade at Kuminga.
Well, I mean, look, they have Mo Gay and they played Zach Richiche 2 minutes and the end of the first quarter, and that didn't go great. Kuminga was the one guy who played more than a handful of minutes off the bench.
Yeah.
They just don't have options to go to. He was fine enough in the game.
I mean, Richiche would be nice if the guy who was the number 1 overall pick in the draft a couple of years ago.
Yes. I mean, it'd be nice if he was playing like he was at the end of last year. He is just, his confidence is not in a good place at the moment. And he's just not going to be a huge factor. So, it's Gabe Vincent and Mo Gay. And so we'll see again, the Knicks are in control. The Knicks look like they should be in control of the series, but we've seen the Knicks give games back before, and we'll see if they do again.
All right. The late game on Monday is Nuggets hosting the Wolves, game 2.
Speaking of injuries.
Now, Ant Edwards is on the injury report as questionable. I don't know if he's on the injury report because, it's just a proceeding because it's an injury and they're handling it, or if he actually came out of that game not feeling great, and there's a
go into the game on the injury report.
I understand.
He looked like a guy playing in the game who was going into the game on the injury report.
I agree, but then he played, and so typically when you play and you're off the injury report, but he's not.
That's not always true.
They attempted to make a point of, oh no, I didn't think he looked like he was like the knee was bothering him. He's just trying to regain his rhythm.
Sure looked like it was bothering to me.
Well, he couldn't make a shot.
I know. I'm just telling you what their point, what their emphasis was, what their talking points were.
What I would say in general about this game, the Wolves have to consider that one a missed opportunity because I know that some of the numbers looked good. Like Murray had 30, Jokic had a triple-double. It was not a command performance by the Nuggets. They had some clutch play. Some key plays. And, Murray got to the foul line 16 times, which is tremendous. But that was C+-ish, B- by the Nuggets, and they got away with it and got ahead.
They were 1 of 17 from three-point range in the second half and won. I mean, this was not like the Nuggets played well. The Nuggets also, they don't have Peyton Watson. And that hamstring.
David Adelman basically played 7 guys. Now, Valanciunas and Spencer Jones played for a few minutes, but basically he's playing 7. It's right back to when they won the championship a couple years ago.
I stuck it, but he did not look good, and he was dealing with this knee issue down the stretch of the season and had a week off coming into the game. And, look, we've seen Ant have superhuman healing powers in the past, but that was not It, like you said, especially given Rudy Gobert had a very good offensive game, which he's obviously not going to do that often. And it's a game you can win on the road. And it, like you said, Denver was fine, but it was sitting there able to be stolen. That's one that hurts for Minnesota.
And wasn't on award ballots because the knee was such an issue that he had to sit so much down the stretch. He didn't get to even close to 65 games, not even close enough to get the, whatever waiver that Luka and Cade got. He had the foot thing, earlier in the year, but this knee thing, it's the same knee issue. I forget the exact term, but it's the same thing that caused Steph Curry to miss 26 games. Now, Ant's obviously a lot younger.
Runner's knee.
Yeah, Ant's also, they got a fancy name for it too, though. Ant's also, now he's skilled, don't get me wrong, but one major reason that Ant is such a special player is because he is so damn explosive. And so if he's just, compromised.
I am not an orthopedist, so I'm not trying to but I think the issue is swelling. And so you've got fluid, water on the knee, they called it my grandparents' days. You got fluid in there, you're stiff. I mean, that was the whole thing with Curry, was getting the fluid out of there. So, there's reason fluid's in there. Usually it's to deal with an injury that's in there, but whatever. I don't like this whole must-win game thing. But look, if
it's not a must-win, but to me, if they lose the game and Ant looks good, that I think is fine. If they lose the game and Ant looks like he did in game 1 again, to me, the only thing, I shouldn't say the only thing, obviously it'd be great for Minnesota if they win the game. To me, the biggest thing coming out of this game is going to be, how does Anthony Edwards look? And does he look like himself, or does he look like a guy who's playing through a knee issue? And if it's the latter, I just am not sure how these guys are winning the series.
Yeah, the only thing I'm going to say is their last series with the Nuggets, which the Wolves won in 7 games, was a bizarre series. And you want to talk about you can't overreact game to game. The Wolves won the first 2 on the road, lost the next 3, including 2 at home, and then won the last 2 games of the series. And the last one was that historic comeback in Game 7 in that mile-high altitude.
There's also this stat from Bennett Durando from the Denver Post that he tweeted out the other day that I was amused by. So the Nuggets are now 8-1 in Game 1s, going back to 2023. They're also now 1-4 in their last 5 Game 2s. And the only Game 2 that they won was one that they came back from down 20 in the second half at home and won at the buzzer. So the Nuggets have, like the team I saw today, Boston, have been known to kind of play around and let teams in and out of series.
Yeah, they routinely play long series, except the finals when they took it 5.
So let's see if the Denver can, put their foot down and take advantage of the opportunity also. But that starts with, can Minnesota actually seize it if it's sitting there? And that depends on how Ant looks.
All right, the NBA, in something that is new this year, is with the new media deals. They announced all the finalists for the awards, all on TV on Sunday. I don't think there was anything. There was a couple of guys who were I think Asar Thompson making the finals for Defensive Player of the Year. That was.
Wow, there's a mystery who's going to win that.
No, I understand, but if you're looking for something that's interesting, I don't know, is Tim Hardaway finishing top 3 and 6th man? I guess it's mildly interesting, but
I thought that was deserving.
Yeah, it's not unreasonable. I just, but
surprises from the finalists.
Yeah. Anyway, Monday they're going to announce the Defensive Player of the Year. Guess what? It's an off day for the Spurs.
Oh, gee whiz. Yeah. Mike Wright, get ready. Yeah. You're going to be working, buddy.
Yeah. All right. Well, our late nights begin. Thank you very much to Jackson and Mark for staying up late and putting this together. Thank you to Bontemps, who flew to Boston and back, got up at 3 a.m. or something to fly to Boston and back.
What a hero.
Yeah. Thank you,
MacMahon Day, if you will.
MacMahon covered a game today.
I did Sports Center in the morning. I covered a game. What they got the money's worth out of me today. Chill out,
boy. Good job.
That wasn't what I was saying. It's not that you don't work.
First podcast of the playoffs down, several dozen to go.
Yeah.
We'll talk to you later this week.
Adios, amigos.